If a woman wants to sit there and say, we need transsexuals in school, drag story, child book reading, we need this because it makes me feel good. But I'm not responsible for what happens to those children. I'm not responsible, and I'm not going to take accountability for how bad an idea this was. I just want it so I can say I'm a good person. My question is this. Until women are prepared to take accountability the same way men are, why do we listen to anything they even say?
Andrew Tate drops the hammer on feminism in this debate and questions why men should even listen to women at all if they refuse to take accountability, which is driving feminists insane, as Andrew Tate doesn't hold back and asks if women can't be accountable for their actions no matter what, then why should men tolerate them in government, business, any authority at all, and even vote? Let's get in.
Do you think that applies to women as well? They need to take the responsibility for whatever happens to them.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble, but
because with that logic, with that logic, and I see the point because I believe everything's my fault as well.
Yep.
But with that logic, then if a woman is wearing a short skirt and a bra and walks on the street,
let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
And then she gets whistled at, she gets, God forbid, raped or hit on or whatever. Is that her fault?
Yes. Now, in true misogynistic style, I'm going to have to say that women, by and large, and obviously exceptions do disprove the rule, struggle with personal accountability more than men, by and large. Correct. And I'm not saying all women, I'm just saying.
But I mean, there's an exception to all rules, right? But we're talking here generally speaking.
Yeah. Yes. And the reason for that is because when you blame yourself for things, you become competitive. And the world for a man is actually more competitive than the world for a woman. And women, to a degree, not all women, but some women manage to get by not being particularly competitive. They're just pretty, or they know enough people, and they just go through life not really blaming themselves for anything because they don't have to optimize in any way. But if you want to optimize yourself, you always have to take fault for everything all of the time. I said something before about that the BBC still use against me to this day. I said that exactly what you said. I said if a woman goes out and she meets a man she doesn't know, and she's wearing a short skirt, and she gets drunk with that man, and then she sniffs cocaine with that man, and then she kisses that man in the bar, and then she goes back to that man's hotel room, and then cries rape, I blame the woman. And they said, in the BBC, Andrew Tate says women are responsible for rape, because they twist everything. And what I'm trying to say is that we need to have personal accountability in all things, because the world's not a perfect place, right? Am I saying she should be raped if she ends up in that hotel room? No. What I am saying is that the world's not a perfect place and people do bad things. And her, as an adult, should have enough personal responsibility to not put herself in a position where it's easy to allow bad things to happen to her. Just as I, as a man, don't allow myself to be in a position where bad things can happen to me. I won't go to Kandahar right now and get shot with an AK because I know that there's people there who might kill me. We all have to have personal responsibility, but the world is now skewed. And we live in this very unfair dichotomy of this double standard, which is applied to men in this matriarchal matrix system where women are girl bosses and better than us at everything and beat us up on Netflix shows, while at the same time, anything that happens to them wasn't their fault. A man made them do it. And we have these two things sandwiched together. And as a man, you're stuck in the middle. Imagine you're a 17-year-old boy, you're going to school, you're watching Netflix, you're watching TV, you're watching these things. They're telling you women are better than you at everything. They're trying to make you into a girl. They're trying to make you talk like a girl, think like a girl, be a girl. You turn on Netflix, the mom is smart, the dad is dumb. There's a little woman beating up 55 men on every single TV show. Your masculinity is permanently under attack. But then you get a girlfriend and you're with her for a few months, then you break up, and then she cheated on you, but that's your fault because you could emotionally manipulate, or you were a narcissist. So everything she does is your fault, but you have no authority, but you have all the responsibility, but you're also her inferior while capable of making her do things she doesn't want to do. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
I think this double standard as well of how they're raising women and men these days to believe that women are taking the place of men and there are no men and you should emasculate yourself a little bit so that there is equality, right? But then when men and women are dating and they're in relationships, all of a sudden a woman is going back to her instinct and she's like, but why aren't you leading? And why aren't you providing? And why aren't you, leading the household? And you're like, okay, but I thought that's not, like, did you not want this? I mean, I'm so confused because mainstream media is saying that it's offensive now to tell a woman that I've got you, right?
Exactly right. And that's why the birth rate's collapsing. That's why marriage is collapsing. That's why everything's over. You know, I recently watched this. I witnessed this recently. We're talking about how And we can actually talk about this from a biological perspective, because we talk about how women don't want to take accountability for things. But one of the reasons they get away with that is because men, by and large, as a society, allow women to get away with these things.
Yeah.
Because we are programmed to protect women. Because if you have 100 men and 100 women and a war comes, the reason the men go fight, because supposedly the patriarchy was so evil and mean. If you listen to a feminist, history is patriarchal. The patriarchy is disgusting. Turns out it was men who were dying in a ditch, getting shot, while you sat at home with the kids. But no, we were supposedly bad. Why do we send the men to go fight? Because if it was truly a patriarchy, we could sit around and say, I'll send my women against your women. Baby mama battle. I'll send my chicks. You send your chicks, they can fight. I'm going to sit here. I'm a king. I don't have to go fight and die. Why? Because if you have 100 men, 100 women, and 95 men die, well, those 5 men can still impregnate the 100 women. Your tribe will survive. If 95 women die with 100 men, your tribe's over because you can't reproduce fast enough. So men have been programmed evolutionarily across thousands of years to protect women by and large. And you see this all the time. And that has been hijacked now to the point where women, when they don't want to take responsibility for their own actions, have men jump up and jump around them to defend them. This happens all the time. A porn star will come out after doing 500 porn scenes and say, I was fooled and tricked. My mom was a drug addict and it was unfortunate. And then this manager met me and he seduced me. And now I'm suing him because I didn't want to. That's what she's going to say. And whether that's true or not, you could debate. But what's interesting is thousands of men will start going, yeah, poor girl, instantly defending her. They don't even know if what she said is true. She should have come from a white picket fence Christian household. She just made it up.
With Me Too movement, women don't lie
Defend
anymore.
all women. Women don't lie. And I saw this very recently with Lily Phillips. I see Lily Phillips going on these podcasts, and you have all these conservatives, these Republicans, these masculine men trying to convince her that, what's happening to her is wrong and she needs to look at her childhood and work out why she did it, etc. To me personally, I just think she's a whore, and whores have always existed, and she can go be a whore, and it's her decision, and that's what she's doing, and I don't feel any instinct to protect her. Now, maybe I'm the broken one, but I see a bunch of dudes trying to stick up and protect her. She's making her own decisions. You want to talk about personal accountability? There it is. Let her do it. Let her suffer the consequences. Who cares?
But that's how it's always been. I mean, at least how I was growing up. If we're teenagers, I'm born 86, I'm 38 now. And as teenagers, and you're making bad decisions over and over again, 18, 19, 20, at some point, no decent boy wants to date you.
100%.
And it's your personal accountability. And that's as a teenager. Now that we know better, we say, okay, but that's a teenager's mind. Maybe she doesn't know. But when you're a fully grown woman and you're choosing your choices, why are people trying to protect how she feels about the choices she's making as opposed to making her hold herself accountable for those choices?
What's really interesting is this. If we're going to live in a society where women are not accountable for their own decisions, why can they vote? Exactly. Why can they be in charge of governments? Why do we listen to anything they say ever? I'm not trying to be a misogynist, because this is why they call me a misogynist. I'm asking questions. If we live in a society where women are not responsible for their own actions, which means by extension, they're not responsible for any of the actions which take place because of their ideals that they promote. If a woman wants to sit there and say, we need transsexuals in school, drag story, child book reading, we need this because it makes me feel good. But I'm not responsible for what happens to those children. I'm not responsible, and I'm not going to take accountability for how bad an idea this was. I just want it so I can say I'm a good person. My question is this. Until women are prepared to take accountability the same way men are, why do we listen to anything they even say?
Now that is straight to the point. Put down below whether or not you agree with what Andrew Tate just asked. But if women, modern women, all these feminists, if they are not willing to actually hold themselves accountable in any capacity, then why on earth would you give that same person any type of power or authority? That's insane. Like, us as men, we already hate guys who don't hold themselves accountable. Those are the politicians who are ruining everything, rich billionaires, whatever that is, right? We hate them, and they're all guys. But for a woman to step in and be able to have the same position of authority money, whatever, in government, Hillary Clinton, anyone like that, to have that woman in that position, but not really hold themselves in the same light of accountability. Can you imagine the damage that is doing now, or could do if it was even worse? I mean, it's unsustainable. You can't have it. I mean, yeah, straight to the point. I have to agree. If these women are not willing to hold themselves accountable, they are going to use everything as scapegoats, and everywhere they go, they are going to leave a trail of chaos and ruin, and people are going to suffer across the board. All these children who are growing up all messed up, they claim all teachers are women. Yeah, look what they're producing. Look what they're producing. Nothing good. And I think this is one of the biggest questions as to why, when you look back through all of human civilization, you have never seen a single one where women ran it. Not a single one. This central point, because women left to their own devices will live in their delusion, refuse to take accountability, and you cannot build a society on top of that. But hit that like button and notification bell if you're enjoying the video. It helps the algorithm. I appreciate it, and let's get back in.
And this is why I'm called a misogynist, and this is why I say things that upset the matrix, and this is why I get in so much trouble.
And I just think they misquote you. Like what you say, if someone just takes that sentence and doesn't listen to everything you're saying, they're going to
say, why do we listen to what women say? And they're going to put it up there.
That's how it works, right?
But I don't listen to what men say who don't take accountability either.
Absolutely.
The thing is, the matrix, they gender most of my arguments, and they say I'm talking about women. I'm not only talking about women, because exceptions do disprove the rule, but we have to talk about generalities. In general, men take more accountability than women, because in general, men have to be more competitive than women. But there's plenty of men who don't take accountability either. There's plenty of them.
Absolutely.
And I don't talk to them either. And that's one of the reasons why, I judge people on their appearances all the time. I judge books by their cover all day, every day. If I look at you and I feel like you're weak, I don't believe you have personal responsibility. I don't believe you have motivation. I don't believe you have dedication. I don't believe you can keep donuts out your mouth. I don't believe you have any self-control. I don't talk to you. I don't like you. Call me fat phobic. I don't care. That's my decision. I'm rich. I don't need you. So I don't talk to you. Because I believe you're the kind of person who will not take accountability for their actions. Because you're eating donuts all day, you're becoming obese, and you're blaming your fucking thyroid. So you're a dumbass. So I don't need you near me or around me, because you're not responsible for your actions. If I lend you my car and you crash it, you're not going to come to me like a man would do. A man who's accountable. If I crash a car, which is impossible, by the way. But if that happened...
Because you're not a woman.
You said it. You said it. But if I crash a car... I'll go up to the guy. If I borrow a car and crash it, I'll go up to him and say, brother, I crashed your car, completely my fault. I'll pay for all the repairs, or I'll buy you a new one, 100% on me. I got your back. That's what a man would do.
Yeah.
But what a weakling would do, or someone who doesn't take accountability, is they say, I crashed a car, but it wasn't my fault. What happened? Well, this guy, he just pulled out of nowhere, and he just came, and then the tree just grew out of nowhere and was just in the middle of the road, and I hit the tree. So... by and large, and of course, exceptions don't disprove the rule, by and large, this is a test for everybody at home. Ask a man if he's ever crashed a car, and he'll say yes or no. And if he says yes, you'll say why. And he'll probably say, oh, I was drunk, or I wasn't paying attention. He'll blame himself. Ask a woman, have you ever crashed a car? Yeah, I've crashed. What happened? Oh, it wasn't my fault. Every time it's not their fault somehow. Somehow the tree just grew in the middle of the road.
I've been there.
Well, this is the thing that's interesting. So in the West, if they have an idea that they want to psyop the population with, they aim for children and women first. They don't aim for the men. We're hard to convince. Men are hard to convince. They aim for the women and the children.
That's welfare.
Well, that's welfare. That was COVID. COVID was simply grandma's going to die. And that makes women go, grandma, because women are emotional. You can manipulate emotions. Men, we're not as emotional. You have to come to us with facts. And I'm like, okay, well, how many grandmas? Whose grandma? Not my grandma. She's built different. I don't care.
That's what they did with the October 7th. The first thing that came out was beheaded babies.
Of course, a lie, a psyop.
Trigger women.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So in the matriarchy of the West that we live in, we're living in this matriarchal society where the people who have the most power, because women are more powerful than men in the West, they pretend that they're living in a patriarchy because men make more money and all this bullshit. There is not a single law in the Western world that benefits men over women. And I can name endless laws that benefit women over men. A woman can destroy a man's life at random with a single accusation and no proof. She can take his house he worked for. She can take his children. She can take his money. The richest women in the West, the top 10 of them, got it all via divorce. Men get wrecked by chicks. Chicks run it. It's female world. And I'm saying that they've done this on purpose so they can come along with emotional arguments, because emotional arguments are a very easy way to psyop people. We need to remove the border. We're going to let in as many people as we want. Here, look, there's a kid. Look at the kid. He's crying. Oh, well, my answer is, does he have a passport? Because if no, he can't come in. He should go cry at the passport office in Mexico. I don't give a shit. Whereas a chick will be like, oh, the kid. Emotional arguments.
Women are emotional.
Exactly. And we have given women power and authority and the ability to vote. We have given people in positions of power the ability to control that, which they are more emotional to. Letting women vote, I think from that moment moving forward through history, it was doomed to fail. It was doomed to fail because you can't do it. Women don't want to hold themselves accountable in the same light, and they're emotional. They make worse off decisions, which is why you need the father in the household to protect daughters from making bad decisions. Don't date that guy. Don't do this thing. Don't put yourself in this dangerous situation, right? Otherwise, they're going to do all that, and they're going to wreck themselves because they don't know what they're doing, because they need a man's protection. But women cannot, I believe, be allowed to vote, be in positions of power, because it is a detriment across the board to all of society. I get that's going to burn some women. I understand that, but you can see it throughout all of history, our own history, and that's just the way it is. But thanks for watching. Let me know down below what you thought about what Andrew Tate had to say, absolutely destroying feminism's lack of ability to take any accountability in anything they do. Thanks again, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.